guys, I wanted to make a quick review video for my newest sap that I got from Asheville Leather Works, and at the same time I wanted to address some common questions I get about saps and some misunderstandings. First thing I want to mention is that this is an unsolicited review. I was not paid to do this. This is a sap that I bought on my own volition, so I'm just going to give you some objective feedback on it. Now the first thing we're going to do is take an objective look at the sap. This is the sap as it came out of the bag. It's not been used, not by me at least. So a few things. When I purchased this, I purchased it through Etsy. The advertisement showed a sap that had a really high degree of finish. It had a really nice polish on it, and it had an embossed logo. Ironically, the sap came with this free keychain, and if we look at the keychain, we see the embossment that I was supposed to have on the sap, and we can see a really nice degree of shine and finish on the leather itself. That's actually superior on the keychain. This is more what I was expecting on the sap itself. The sap came with a little bit of impact damage. Maybe it was dented in transport, but it looks like somebody's already pre-hit something with it. Moreover, the stitching is really solid, but we see the finish on the side. There's a lot of poor finish. Here it's a little bit higher quality near the tip, but throughout the majority of the expanse we can see a lot of extra glue and a lot of damage. It looks like it was kind of pounded a little bit. Now granted, if you're going to use this for its intended purpose, it's going to get ugly real fast. If you're going to train with it immediately, it's going to get mangled up. I have done nothing more than grab this and slap my palm 3 or 4 times with it. I wanted to review it immediately to show you the quality it came in. So a little disappointed. If I was gifting this to someone, I'd be a little bit disappointed because it does look a little bit pre-used coming out of the bag. And my thinking is this might have been a return, just because of the degree of damage that I had here on the side. It looks like it was all scuffed up because there is that impact pockmark. So that being said, let's talk about the utility of the sap. Now, as far as saps go, this is a fantastic little sap. One thing I get is people say, I bought a sap. Here we have one. This is one of the standard sort of, Chinese knockoffs you'll get. This one sold for about 30 bucks. This one sells for about 100. That's the difference. And what we see in the cheaper knockoff is the leather's fine, but there's not a high degree of stitch work or anything being done. It's a very thin layer of leather, as opposed to this, which the outer layer is, you see, it's about 3 times the thickness. There is a slight side paneling, which I can easily scuff with my nail, and the entirety of this is filled with a single piece of what might be termed spring steel. So there's metal all the way through, and there might be usually I've ripped these open, there's just a little rectangle of extra weight, a spine if you will, that runs through the entire length. So the problem with these as a delivery mechanism, first of all, is it's almost symmetrical, peanut shaped top to bottom. It's not a true teardrop shape, and so when I grab it, it doesn't fit very well in my palm. This is the cheaper one, as opposed to the Asheville one, which fits beautifully in my palm. The second thing is, because there is the single flat piece and then the rectangular spine running through the entirety of it, yes, there's a certain amount of weight, but the weight is kind of evenly distributed. Even though there's a larger teardrop at the end, we see that the balance is somewhere around here, somewhere at this point here, but it's really not top heavy like it should be. And so when it hits just like a flat paddle. By comparison, the Asheville one, you see it's wilting under its weight, which is really what you want. And what we have here is we have a single piece of metal, probably about yay thick at the end, and the remainder of the expanse is just leather. Right, so this is just a leather handle, and then at the end we have the weight, and that's really what you want. So even if I hold it here, you hear the difference. This I can take very comfortably. This is starting to hurt already. A big thud. All right, so cosmetically, when you look at them, you may not see that big a difference. They look quite similar. But when I hit myself with one of these, it's hard for me to understand why this would be superior to, let's say, a short length of stick, or even a short tactical baton for that matter. It's not much beyond a Kubotan. There's a bit of slap, but nothing compares to this. The Asheville one is beautifully made for purpose. Even if we look at the strap on the back, this is such a thin little strap. This would just tear off easily, where this is a nice, generous, meaty piece of leather that runs up and is well supported. So the intent is the same, but you can tell the Asheville sap was made by somebody who understood the end purpose. So all that to say, overall, because I'm not really a big, I'm not that concerned with the beauty of it, the Asheville sap is a wonderful little tool. If you're going to train with it for any degree of time, even if on a punching bag or a wave master or whatever, it's going to get mangled up real fast anyway. You know, I'm going to oil this up right away and keep it in good condition, but this has a beautiful weight to it. I can choke it up a little higher. I can imagine now their teardrop saps, if you had that same termination with a very, very short handle, usually just a loop for 2 fingers, this would still pack an incredible wallop. And I think I will consider purchasing one of their teardrop keychains, just because I'm really happy with the weight distribution. Most of the saps I've seen on the market are like this. You wonder who the handle was built for it. It doesn't quite fit in the hand. You have to kind of crush it, whereas this one just fits. I can squeeze it hard and it gives a really good commanding handle. I can choke it up for a shorter grip, or I can have it kind of with a little bit more whack. And this, I can tell you, even on my leg, on my arm, this is already very, very uncomfortable. There's no doubt that this one, the Asheville sap, could break some serious bone or would give a very easy close range knockout. So overall, for the money, it's not a beautiful sap, but it's purpose-built, it's understood, the function is well understood. It was made by somebody who knows what the sap is for, whereas these cheaper knockoffs that you get at military surplus stores was made by somebody who looked at a picture of a sap and said, yeah, we get it, we'll make it. You know, the earliest saps, guys, were just bags or socks filled with sand or, you know, gunpowder. And it was supposed to be end heavy and really to deliver that wallop. So if you're buying these cheaper knockoffs, it may do well enough for you to think you have a good sap, but then you're going to really question the utility of it and wonder, you know, would this really make much of a difference, or why would this be better than something else? The Asheville sap, by comparison, connects itself with the long, proud history of saps going back to ancient times. It makes you really understand how these were so popular and so relied upon for centuries. This is a great little sap, a little bit ugly, not the nicest finishing, but great quality leather, great stitching, and a deep understanding of where the flexibility should be to absorb the recoil and where the amount of weight you should have in the tip. So overall, I would still give it 4 out of 5 stars and say that it's worth purchasing, providing you're not giving it as a gift or concerned with how it looks.